Hello everyone and welcome to the Festival of Innovation and our discussion about blue sky innovation. I'm very excited today to be joined by Kimberly Beneville, co-founder of Beneville Studios and head of experiences at Area 15, Justin East, senior creative director of research and development at Merlin Entertainments, and Felix Heuberger, head of marketing at Eatrenalin. And I hope I didn't butcher your surname too much, Felix. Thank you all for being here. It's exciting to have you.
Hello, thank you.
Yes. Hello, everybody.
Kimberly, could you tell us a little bit about what you're working on at the moment and what you look for in an experience when you kind of bring a project from this blue sky idea into a fully realized concept?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a really exciting time for Area 15 right now. We are currently working on a 300,000 square foot expansion of our land, which is so exciting. We have Universal Horror Unleashed coming. So Universal Studios is building a permanent horror experience. And I have to say, it is so cool. I can't say too much about it, but it's really, really awesome. And I get very squeamish when it comes to anything horror, but the artistic design is so brilliant and it's going to be awesome. So I'm really excited about that. We have the 747 plane from Burning Man coming. That's going to be a nightclub experience. So there's so many cool things happening for Area 15 right now. It's a great time for us. And I'll say what we look for when we look in a blue sky experience is really, where's the wow factor? If it has that wow factor, that's number one for us. Depth of storytelling. Is there a real business model? That's the not so cool part about it, but that's the practical part, and that's a major important part for us. So that's what we really look for.
Yeah, I mean, it is, as you say, such an exciting time for you guys, and I really feel like you are constantly kind of pushing the edge, aren't you, with your experiences? What challenges do you kind of come up against? You must look at kind of loads of different projects and, as you're working out what works, how do you juggle all of that?
Yeah, I think, one of the greatest challenges is what I just said. It can be such a unique and awesome experience, but then does it have a realistic business model? And we get pitched great concepts all the time. But then we really have to look for what's your throughput. Are these numbers realistic? And that's a tough balance, right? So that's a major challenge. And I think there's also always the challenge of creativity versus operations. We want to push the envelope and go as wild and crazy, and we also need to have it make sense and make money.
So top tip for everyone with your blue sky concepts, to make sure that it is feasible and put that business case together.
Yes.
Good to know. Justin, can you tell us a bit about what you're working on right now? I mean, obviously, as long as it's not top secret.
Well, a couple of them are secret, which isn't much good for you to, but I'm very open, but I can't talk about it. Well, I think from last year's, we were, Kimberly and I were on the same missions of like immersive theatre, AI, metaverse, immersive dining, our escape rooms over, all these new businesses that are new and that have come, recently within the last 10 years. Are they in fact worth investing in, to Kimberly's point, with a business case to turn them around? And funnily enough, one that we've just finished is a Legoland, sort of in the competitive socializing space, sort of a new Legoland 36-hole interactive golf course, mini golf, adventure golf. And, that seems to be doing pretty well. And that's a very simple concept. And it's, of the family enjoying themselves together around a fun Instagrammable experience. And I'm very much into the simplicity of things. Technology shouldn't define anything. Technology is just a spice we use when we're inventing things for people to enjoy and do. Do you know what I mean? I think sometimes it becomes like tech, and so what tech? A television is a tech, but if you have crap on it, it's crap tech.
Yeah, so actually, blue sky doesn't have to be this fantastical, magical thing. Actually, sometimes simple ideas can be innovative.
When we were doing the marking, what was the thing? Oh yeah, the aura. Do you know the thing the Weta Studios did? You thought that, and you see Team Lab and you think, wow, that is some very, very creative ways and very beautiful ways of using technology. But really, it's storytelling that just happens to be technology. And then the artist is at the forefront, and the technologist is probably just doing what the artist is telling him what happens. Yeah,
that's really important. Felix, can you tell us a bit more about Eatrenalin in case people don't know what this experience is?
Yeah, if you don't know it, you have to join it, because it's the most exciting restaurant in the world. And that was our aim, to produce it. And I think it's been very well at this moment, but we always developing every day. And if you know the Mac family here at the Europa Park, everybody knows that they are doing the development every day. And we have an AI character. It's our host. She's called Lina, and she takes you to a journey through all the senses and through different worlds, different styles. And it's the main story of the Eatrenalin restaurant.
And Mac Rides developed this sort of is it a chair that takes people through the experience?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very high technology chair. We call it the floating chair because the movement feels like floating. So you don't feel like a ride, like a car or something else. And the floating chair was the key for Eatrenalin, because with this moment we had this technology, we could bring our concept to life, and that was the main part. To bring Eatrenalin to life. It's an individual transport system, which is much more than a dark ride system. And because the first idea of Eatrenalin was to have big tables with 12 or 16 persons on one table and move them through different rooms. But with this kind of technical movement, we would have bigger facilities, no flexible solutions, and now we put it to the smallest part we could do, and this is one person on one chair, and so the floating chair was born.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just sounds incredible, and I think you've really taken immersive dining to a whole new level with having the AI character, the chair, everything is just immersive dining to an extreme, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And there was a lot of challenges we had by the development. If you have 16 persons in one room, we have some choreography, some of the floating chairs. They have all different situations while seating in every single room. So our partner company, Mac Animation, did it like in a CGI movie. And then we transported it to the expanded to the rooms, to the facility, and that's the way the floating chairs are moving. Then the media content was a very important part. And another thing is the timing, because we have 10 slots with 16 persons, and so we have a capacity of 160 persons per evening, and that's a big challenge for the timing between the kitchen, the service, the media content, the guests, and the time to eat, for sure. Yeah.
And how long did this idea take from initial idea to opening?
Yeah, we think about 4.5 or 5 years from the first idea to the opening of the restaurant. And Thomas Mack from the owner family of the Europa Park, he has a friend, Oliver Alter, is the CEO of Marché International, and they got in touch with each other. And Oliver was in the Europa Park with his leading team, and they did the Voletarium. And he was so impressed that he said to Thomas, "Hey, let's do something with gastronomic, a Voletarium with F&B." And so the idea was born. Yeah.
Such an incredible kind of spark of imagination. Justin and Kimberly, I'm just really interested, obviously, 5 years for Eatrenalin to come up. How do you, when you're looking at a blue sky idea now, how do you look forward and realize, actually, is that still going to be what people want? Is that still going to be innovative? Kimberly, I'll go to you first with that.
I think that's one of the greatest challenges is what's your content refresh strategy? That's one of the first things we ask, actually, when we're looking at a new concept too, is the wow factor, the business model, and content refresh. And it's a challenge. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest challenges in our business is I wish there was a more affordable way to keep that content going, because people always want something new. They always want something exciting.
Yeah. Justin, how about you? How do you deal with that?
Well, we have like a portfolio of blue sky ideas. And I think it's like lobbying for anti-smoking or lobbying for anti-marijuana, anything. You have to believe in one and keep hammering it out every year when that boss particular that year says it's rubbish. Okay, I failed, but all the ones I've had success with, I would say the majority is just I've believed that they're going to be good. And might have bored you with this. There was this one called the Fire Truck Challenge. It was a very low tech thing in Legoland estate that only cost $1.5 million, and it used to make. When we launched it, it made more money than something that cost 12 million. And it was a smaller price point, but it captured the imagination. It was uniquely Lego. It was a bullseye target from a marketing point of view, young families with children. And I think 2 of us out of about 10 of us believed in it. Do you know what I mean? But finally, in about 7 years later, the problem is sometimes that the operating group aren't that they're busy getting on with operating. So for you to introduce something that sounds like it might as well be a Martian on the planet, and say, does this sound like something feasible? Frightens them to death, So it's a tricky old game. But what I find usually is eventually this stuff falls into place. Like I had somebody the other day saying, "Hey, what do you think about this team lab?" And I'm saying, yeah, I told you about that in 2013. But I'm not angry about it. I'm happy the pennies dropped, and they now are excited about it, because you're on your own effectively going around the world looking at stuff. But as Kimberly says, the unglamorous side of it is it always has to have a business case, or it's not going anywhere. Fact.
Yeah. It's, it has to make sense, doesn't it?
It's like Felix is interesting that the gastronomy experience doesn't have to have such a big capacity, because he's offering a luxury dining experience for, I'd imagine, a very reasonable price, Felix. And so that's the business model. Like, you probably wouldn't have a normal ride that's going to be doing 160 per hour. That would be nuts, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but if you compare it to our 2-star Michelin restaurant, which has 36 places per evening, so Eatrenalin is a fine dining restaurant with a high capacity. Yeah, and so we have much more.
That's a great point. It's the sort of supercharged version of going to a brilliant restaurant.
Exactly, yeah. And I think it's funny what you said before, because Oliver Alter always says, if you have an idea everybody believes in, delete it. But if you have an idea no one believes in, go on working for it. So that's quite the same. That's very funny for us.
My old boss John Jacobson used to say, if you're in a room and you're the do you know what I mean, and 9 people aren't listening to you, shut up. I mean, but it's an interesting one. You have to bring people on board with something that's potentially, because it's so new. Another one, for example, you know, maybe in the year 2000, we got interested in the KUKA Robota arms. Do you know the ones that finally became the Harry Potter, the base to the Harry Potter experience? So we had this idea that you'd create a piece of Lego DNA and build it out of Lego, and then you could manufacture your own ride, you know, having a 360 turn. And I just thought it sounded like the best, the cleverest idea I'd heard for ages. You know, I loved it. And I think it bombed to some extent because nobody had any sort of semantic understanding of what the bloody thing was. Do you know what I mean? We were trying to communicate something that hadn't been invented yet, because typically you would put a picture of the ride, the family going wow like that, and an icon in the background. This was so new, it was very difficult to communicate. So yeah, it's a minefield, and but sometimes you get it very right and it's brilliant. The other one is that not everything's a success, isn't it? I mean, that is the world of the R&D.
Yeah, and difficult if you really kind of believe in something and then it doesn't work out. If you put all that passion into it, that must be.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Yeah.
I think you have to learn that as you get older, that you can't get as engaged. If I was as engaged in it now as I was 20, I'd be in a nut house.
That's true. I would too.
Yeah.
Well, you get really into it, don't you? You see stuff and you go, what? You must see this stuff. Oh, another thing I would tell you is get your boss to go to it, because explaining something is the worst, isn't it? You know, just get the people you want to lobby to go to these experiences, I would say.
I'll scout something out, and then I'll have my team come in and look at it, and we all have to be on the same page that this is something that's going to be amazing. We all have to agree on it.
Yeah, the best experience ideas you cannot describe, so you have to experience it on your own, and that's also one reason why we do strictly non-photos by our guests on their own, and to keep this magic.
Yeah, and I think what you've done so well with Eatrenalin, Felix, is you've still been able to build that excitement around it without letting people take photos, because that's normally kind of what everyone wants from an attraction right now, isn't it? They want that Instagrammable moment for people to share it, and you've been able to go, actually, this is an experience that you have to experience, which is quite impressive.
Yeah, I think the trend to do everything Instagrammable is cool, yeah, but we go the other way, and it worked very well because the people forget to look on their smartphone while our experience, and
because it's an interesting view, because what we're creating it's a dichotomy, isn't it? In some like with the Derren Brown coaster we tried to keep that was like, this is so important as a piece of magic and a piece of grand illusion. We don't want anybody to be taking pictures inside. And I remember going to see Team Lab for the first time. You had to put your phones away when you went in there. So maybe, you know, we've had Instagram, haven't we, for 10-ish years, 7 years, and now maybe Instagram's off, and it's there's going to be a trend in keeping your cards close to your chest and not sharing, and you have to come to share, or you know.
Well, it's what we did with Area 15 too. I mean, if you look at Area 15 from the outside, it looks like a warehouse. And that was the whole point, is that we built something very nondescript, and all the fun and the excitement is inside, but you have to come to really experience it.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I love creating the mystery.
Jeff and I, my partner, not life partner, but bloke I work with, we went to the immersive show there. Like, I think it was last year. There was a fabulous, it was the best trade show I've ever been to, and it was all about immersive theatre, and the guy who was the founder of terrible memory. You know, the biggest Cirque du Soleil. We got to meet him, and he spoke about technology, and his view was it's just it's a, don't get too excited about it. It's just a you know, an ingredient in the thing of making something that's fabulous that will compel people to go there. Yeah.
So I think we found our kind of first trend, maybe. But what other trends are you seeing, Kimberly? I'll start with you.
I definitely hybrid models of experience. So, you know, what Eatrenalin, is that how you say it? I'm sorry, is doing, you know, by creating a dark ride and a fine dining experience combined is amazing. You know, I went to the nightclub, The Stranger in New York City over the weekend, and what they're doing is just such a step forward in nightlife, combining, you know, a show with an immersive mirror maze and a gambling room and a karaoke room and everything built under one roof, and it's a nightclub too. And I think that's just brilliant. It was amazing. You know, I think that hybrid is really, really cool. It's not just one single silo anymore.
Yeah. Felix, what sort of trends are you seeing in the market or innovations?
Yeah, I think there are 4 points that I want to point out. It's for the personalized experiences, which the people can enjoy together in real life, not in the digital way, and experience with all the senses. That's much important, because with a lot of experience you only have one sense or 2 senses. So it's the 360-degree thing that people want to enjoy. Then the second part is quality. It's in food, technology, and content. Very important, because yeah, if you see the fair in Las Vegas, yeah, it was opened one day and everybody saw it, and so you have to be very fast and very good in quality content. Then the immersive experiences, what I point out in the first thing, but it's, yeah, the immersive part is very important for me. And my final point is willingness to spend money on quality and unique experience, because yeah, if you see it with the pandemic, and yeah, we have a price increasing, but the people, yeah, they do spend some money if the quality is good and you have a unique experience.
Fantastic. Justin, what trends are you seeing?
Well, I mean, looking at it the other way, because, you know, the guys have coloured all the technology stuff. I'm just always thinking, is it great fun for a family, and are they going to have a great time? Let's say if that's the demographic we're dealing with, I'm just thinking, is this a great laugh, great fun? Mum and dad are going to be thinking, wow, I'm so glad I spent this money. It's such a brilliant experience, and we've never felt so together in a world that's increasingly fragmented, you know, through the use of technology. So I think I'm just keeping that in the back of my head all the time. And then, you know, all the, like the one that Kimberly was talking about, these hybrid ones, you know, I think they aren't technically based. They're about getting people together in fun environments, aren't they? They're not, you know, there may be some technological parts to it, but I mean, I can understand with Felix's. This is a clever way of compressing a footprint and making storytelling, you know, having a fabulous, you know, we got into immersive dining with the Little Chef. Do you remember the Little Chef years ago?
Yeah.
Just that was such a beautiful little idea, wasn't it? And I think that spawned a whole raft of different versions of them. And I've gone to 3 of them, and I've just thought they're absolutely magical. You know, the lights are dark, the food comes, the mist comes, the chef's climbing around. So I'm imagining yours is the Rolls Royce of this, you know, of this thing. But I mean, that chef was the seminal thing that started that off, I think. And it wasn't a massive idea. It was a little idea, but a brilliant idea. I don't know what that's got to do with the question, Alice.
No, but I think it's a really interesting point, actually, because, I mean, in the awards, there were quite a few immersive dining experiences. I'm seeing them kind of pop up quite a lot. And I think what's particularly nice about Eatrenalin being part of sort of Europa Park, you are really covering someone's entire day in a way that you may not get at other theme parks. You know, it's really extending that experience for people if they sort of want to. And as Kimberly was sort of saying, it's bringing all these different experiences kind of together into one space. Kimberly, with Area 15, like, you have so many rooms and so many experiences. How can you then sort of like unify them for people?
Well, I think that was our main goal when we built Area 15. You know, we wanted it's not like putting all of these experiences in a mall and you walk out and there's some store next to you. When you walk out of an experience in Area 15, we've created a really beautiful world that is the center of all of it, and so you still feel connected. There's no skip in the beat. There's just a continuation. So that's really important. That's number one for us.
So for people who might be looking to kind of follow up with this trend of having all these hybrid experiences, you have to make sure they're connected.
The connectivity is so important, and in building the emotional connection with our guests too. You know, what drives them? What like, you know, Justin was saying, what makes them want to bring their family and have a day of fun and feel like this was worth it?
Absolutely. If we look kind of slightly into the future, what, you know, experience, technology, product, blue sky innovation do you want to see in the future? Felix, I will start with you.
And don't say immersive dining, Felix.
But it's my second point.
Immersive drinking, that's the next one.
No, I think it's the personalized, location-based entertainment. Yeah, we experience here that the people come to Roost, 6 million visitors every year, and the same thing is with Eatrenalin. I think there's so much more to come, and this personalization is the key, I think. And on the other side, it's to explore some concepts of storytelling and F&B and this AI together, and all this in the story that you are in this world, and you forget everything all around. And I think that's the future of the entertainment. Yeah.
Justin, what about you?
I don't know. I'd be a bit more pragmatic. I would say that somebody will take advantage of AI, the metaverse, all these things moving forward, and I'd be sitting there seeing how it's going for them, and then when it's either shut down in 6 months or open, I'll then make my mind up whether I'll incorporate it into, there'll be a bit of that world, which is a bit more of a incremental innovation, but then there'll be a word of when you're really trying to change the way things are thinking about them. I'm trying to think of anything. Well, it was metaverse and AI last year, wasn't it? Everybody was talking about the metaverse. I just think we're going to see increasingly more spectacular and interesting ways that theatrical people and creatives will be telling stories with different components, and some of these new components will be AI and will be the metaverse and be putting people into X and putting into Y. But my gut feeling is that families pretty much just want to be together, doing something together, and anything that isolates them from each other when they've cut out 3 days to go on something, we're all going to do something together. Anything that technologically cuts them out from doing that, I can't see that it'll be massively popular.
And how do you think, because I think, Felix, I think personalization is becoming increasingly important, but what sort of challenges are there of bringing that into an experience so that you can still remain connected and present in the moment? Because I think a lot of the time people will use like mobiles in a way of doing that, but does that bring people out of the experience?
God.
I'm throwing a curveball in here, but
yeah, Felix, come on, what?
That's a tough one.
I think that the 2 points we already mentioned. It's to communicate the experience to your perfect target group with things you cannot describe. They have to experience, and then to give them the enough emotion to go on the word of mouth. It's very important. The other thing is the price increase. It's going to be very heavy. If you see it, especially in Europe, how the financial markets are going, it's quite interesting what is going on the next couple of years. And because with the pricing power, I think there's in a not far away future we will have some limits. And I think the last thing that everybody has is the recruiting, the HR thing. If we don't find some people who can do the service, all this technologies, you cannot offer this experience. And
I mean, the interesting thing I think is the like on the ambition aspect. Let's say Felix thing is an ambitious version of the immersive dining experience. If you look at the Star Wars hotel in Disney, that was an incredibly ambitious, that threw all the components we're talking about into an experience that we all thought, oh my God, it's they've done everything. It's gamification, it's this and that. And I'm not sure where it is at the moment, but I read an article that what things weren't doing as well as they might be, let's say. So I mean, there isn't an answer. We could have been all chasing that as a competitor about 3 years ago, and had a cathedral to failure in our theme park. So I think that you have to look out and see what's working. You've got to look at the scale of the risk you want to take, and you've got to, do you know what I mean? It's not all like, hey man, there's a new technology on the block, let's all just make it. How much is it? 120 million? Yeah, baby, let's do it. If you think that's what this job's about, you want to think again.
Yeah, that's coming back to Kimberly's. It's coming back to Kimberly's point, isn't it? You've got to have the business case. But Kimberly, kind of what do you want to see in the future that's going to help you?
I think just an easier way to refresh content, a more affordable way. We deal with that all the time. I mean, people always want something new. They want to see the next thing. They see one experience and they think this is great, but then they're on to the next thing. So an easier, more affordable way.
Do you think AI can help with that?
Possibly. We'll see. I mean, yeah.
It's a challenging one, isn't it? We've heard from some of the other sessions people talking about, different ways that they can use AI. And I think what everyone has been saying is that it can't just be AI. Like, you need the creatives to kind of prompt the AI, and then that's when it can work. And you have to have
the right staff and that personal touch. You still need that. That's so important.
Felix, obviously, Eatrenalin's got that AI kind of guide for the visitors. How much did you use it within creating the experience?
It's just a thing of the storytelling. It wasn't a thing of the invention or of the development, because it was too early 5 years ago. So the AI is just a host who goes with the guests through the experience, and she can describe every sense and do the best dishes and all this thing. But her wish is to become alive, to become a human, to really feel, smell, taste, all the stuff. And that's the main story of Eatrenalin and the AI.
So it's a really good example, isn't it, of AI is just that tool for story, just as the technology is as well.
It's just a machine, and so to get the people to know how beautiful life is, and to be human, and to be in this moment, to enjoy this moment with all the senses. And it's not only food, it's smell, the ambient in the special rooms. So and that's Lena, our AI host, try to explain to our guests.
I sort of think, like, what will AI do? Say if we had an AI character, like we've looked into this, and effectively they become like a Google search engine that you can ask questions. Say if it was like Winston Churchill, and you can have a conversation with any hero. It was a personalized experience. You can't really have that conversation to a level yet that's I would say will be as emotionally engaging as we imagine. I love the idea of it. And then you think, if you put a live actor there talking to you, it would probably be a lot more satisfying, but obviously it'd be an extra operational cost. But we're looking to have a meaningful experience with AI. And I've sort of thought of like augmented reality figures walking out of a human and then doing other inhuman stuff, like walking up walls and walking on. So what we want AI to do is stuff that's not mundane, what a human does. Do you know what I mean? So because otherwise it's just a bad version of the human, isn't it? Or a okay version. I don't know. That's I'm thinking about this. I don't know. I think for about 6 years, about eight hours a day. So it's a crazy world.
We are too. It's that balance.
Yeah.
Finding that balance between the machine and the human.
Yeah, and the human, isn't it?
But I'm very impressed how smart the AI is at this moment. I saw a case where somebody asked the machine, please tell me the story of Harry Potter. And then there was 20 pages, and shorter. And at the end, there was only a flash. So it was roughly translated, and
that's great.
It's very smart,
Yeah. No, I think the possibilities are quite interesting. Kimberly, I'm interested, how are you trying to personalize people's experience at Area 15, if that is indeed what people want in the future?
We are. I mean, we've been talking about it for a long time. I think in everything we do, in all of our experiences, we find different ways to build the connection and make and personalize it. But we definitely are looking at AI to help us too. But again, it's really also about the balance between, finding the right staff, making sure that, you can use AI for personalization too, but if you don't also have the human touch and the person who's looking you in the eye and really connecting to you, I think you fail. So I think you really need that balance.
I think as well with AI, there's always this like kind of note of caution, because someone has had to build the AI, and there is the potential that they are building in certain biases. And so I think that's another reason you need those people to guide. You can go, actually, we need to guide this.
The UN had a conference about it this year, early in the year, about racist bias in AI and misogynist bias in AI, because whoever's somebody who's creating it has to be the perfect person. For cleverer people than me, but interested, isn't it?
Yeah, well, because it's not just AI, is it? It's in every aspect of technology and coding. And I think there was a study with Google Images, where if you just type in like nurse, it's only going to show you pictures of female nurses, or doctor. It's always going to be a male doctor, because these biases are ingrained. So, it's just something I think people need to think about, isn't it?
It's like that Jurassic Park one, when they talk about, should DNA be sample to correct, somebody should ask the question, yes, it can be done, but should it be done? Not saying, sorry, Felix the Eatrenalin like that, but you know what I mean? Somebody one day is going to say, it's got to sort of say, is this great? you know.
And I suppose as sort of blue sky innovators and leaders in the industry, that is what you all need to decide. You need to decide where the industry is going. Do you think, actually, this is a slightly kind of strange question, but do you think you're following what people are asking of you, or are you sort of providing things to people and hoping that they're going to enjoy it?
I think it's both. I think, you know, our industry is still, it's very hard to describe. You know, it's not an amusement park. It's not dining. It's everything, right? And so I think a lot of things that we're presenting haven't been seen before, and the public doesn't understand it yet. So I think there's that, but then also within those experiences, providing things that we know the public does want, that we know our customer would connect with. So I think it's presenting a brand new concept, but then also adding those elements where you really build that connection.
So I suppose not only do blue sky innovators have to convince their own team of an idea, but you also have to convince the customer, because if it is a blue sky idea, then it will be relatively new. So
there's like a two-tier world. There's the world that is going to be listening to insights every year, and they're going to say, this year insights are competitive socializing and the metaverse and this, and everybody will be getting the same information around the world by marketing groups, and they'll be creating product around that, and then that will be market tested and be qualitative and quantitative market tested. And then a product will be made that probably maybe people will like, but it won't be groundbreaking, because our job is to be the grit in the oyster that doesn't almost, you know, I detest all that. Drives me because it's just it's the sheeple. It's people, you know what I mean? I like to talk to somebody who's a bit of a character about something, and they're trying something really crazy, and you're thinking, how could we, that's a fabulous idea, but it's got crap operational, you know, it's expensive, blah blah. How could that work in our audience? Because it's interesting, and I don't think it's any more. I think people can make it into like it's like astrophysics, and it's nowhere near it. It's just what excites people. Go to a circus, go, oh, people like that. A circus is a good thing, you know. Go and look at stuff and see what people like. But I mean, like the Felix one, it's where somebody's got excited about technology and created. You know, you're on trend with the immersive eating, aren't you? But it's like saying, here's a whole new a world of the highest quality dining that is going to blow your mind. You know, we've seen smaller versions of this in the past with these nutty guys who've been doing it in small scale, but they were the forerunners, and now this is a lovely product that's come out of it. That's how I look at it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm with you both, because you have to keep your ear in the market, especially if you have very loyal fans and a high number of fans. That's very important to understand your customer and hear your customer, what they want. But if you had asked what they want for a restaurant, it wouldn't be Eatrenalin like it is. So yeah,
they wouldn't know about Adrenaline, isn't it? That's like exactly. Henry Ford said, if he'd have asked his people what they wanted, it'd be like a cart with 8 horses and not a motor car, because they didn't know it. So that's what's the tricky part. Well, it's not that is what our job is, to invent what they don't know that they need yet.
Yeah. Felix, what is the biggest challenge that you are facing?
I think it's especially we are looking for an expansion over the whole world with Eatrenalin, and we want to. In Rust is the prototype, so we're talking to different people to expand Eatrenalin in different countries and big cities all over the world. So the main thing is to explain to people what is Eatrenalin and what is the potential of Eatrenalin, because we are here in Roost with a ticket price from $255 to $645. So if you do this in another bigger city, Shanghai, Tokyo, New York, Las Vegas, you could have much higher prices, and you could expand the experience on its own as well. So that is on the one hand the big challenge because of our expansion. On the other hand, to explain our guest right here in the south of Germany what is Eatrenalin, and that they buy the ticket and come to us. Yeah. And on the other hand, it's I mentioned it earlier, it's the recruiting HR thing, because we have a very low number of unemployed people over here. We have to recruit all over the world. Then it's a thing of the bureaucracy in Germany. To get some green cards for Germany is very hard. So that's our biggest challenges at this moment. Yeah.
Kimberly, what's your biggest challenge?
Really very similar to Felix. It's expanding and raising capital without people fully understanding what you are, since it's still a very new concept. So that's how do you describe what you do when it's so many different things under one roof, and then trying to expand. And then there's always that healthy tension between creativity and operations.
Yeah. Justin, what's your biggest challenge?
I was thinking, like, to draw an analogy, it would be, do you know, like Meow Wolf or blew me away when I went to see it years ago. And now I see that they're creating a little bit of a cookie. They're trying to think, what one imagines, I'm thinking they're trying to make a 3,000 square meter model of it and roll it out. And maybe it'll lose some of its, charm of that first one, the one I first went to. And then I'm thinking, like, they're in a situation of what's next. What will, they've got to roll out these things, but they did something so brilliant. And I think Merlin have done a lot of really innovative, interesting work, and they've taken risk, and they've, I've never felt that I haven't been backed in my department. Occasionally out of 7 things, they'll pick 2 things to go and give it significant investment. But, I just wonder, when you're in the most innovative, let's say the most innovative company in the world, let's say Meow Wolf, we'll hold that up as an example of a very good innovative company we like creatively. What are they doing next? It's always just what's next? What's next before, the one that it succeeded's happened. It's constant looking is what's going to be the next novelty, what is to compel and mesmerize your audience. And and it's tricky, isn't it? Because it's an amalgam of everything we've talked about today. It's all of what we've talked about, and then it's got to have somebody to have the chutzpah to put the money on it, to bet on it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's fascinating, isn't it? The whole world of it.
Yeah, it's exciting times, I think. And I mean, we're sort of coming to the end of the session, and I wondered if you could just give sort of one short, small piece of advice to people who are out there innovating. What would that be? Kimberly?
Have a great business model. Have a great pitch deck. I think that's, when you're trying to describe something that that is hard to describe, it really helps to have a really strong pitch deck, visuals, and then a plan at the end of it.
Felix, what advice would you give?
It's quality, always the quality.
I love it. Justin.
I'm saying I'm gonna, what Kimberly says, good business plan, really work out, define what you're going to say in a very small amount of words, and bring something 3-dimensional. And I think better still, always get the person you want to invest the money, invite them to your thing you're selling, and give them a VIP experience, you know, and get somebody fun to go with them if they're not that fun.
Well, I think that's fantastic advice and a really fantastic session. Thank you so much. This has been so enjoyable, and I hope everyone watching has enjoyed it too. We are going to announce the winners of the Blue Sky Innovation Award category next, so do stick around for that. But Justin, Felix and Kimberly, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, pleasure. Great fun.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Alex. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And now the winners of the Blue Sky Innovation Award 2023. Third place, Disney Weather Check. Second place, FX Motion AI-driven interaction control system from Luminous. And first place, Eatrenalin. Congratulations to all the winners.